In this episode, we'll be looking at how to cover up some unwanted decals on the forks. Also, we're going to be looking at this troublesome rear brake. And we're also going to have to look at making some parts for this bike. We'll fit the front brake as well, and also make some very difficult decisions.
Right, so one thing I really don't like about this bike, it's the forks are fine, but it's what's on the forks is it's not great. I really want to get rid of all the decals which are on it. Not because I don't really like the brand or anything, I just don't like these massive decals that are on there. Obviously there's little ones on the front here and here. They're under the lacquer, so there's no hope of me just being able to peel them off.
And now it's time to fit that A to Z adapter that can be really troublesome for some bikes. But hopefully it works fine for us and we can fit our rear brake caliper perfectly. Okay, so the position of the caliper is just not right. We're not going to be able to get rid of any of this here to make it sort of a smaller area to adjust this bracket across enough to just slip the disc in where it should be. And if we have a look there, we can clearly see it's not going in as we need to. We can't push it anymore. That's it, it won't go across. So, okay. Looks like the A to Z adapter is just not, unfortunately, going to work. Now we might have to make something ourselves, which I've seen other people do. So let's have a look at that. So when in doubt, turn to Google. I had a quick flick through some of the websites by putting in a search really, as you can see here, for a parallel mount issue. And as we had a little look through, there was a post from 11 years ago on one website that is still continuing to today. Now, having read through all of the posts on this particular topic on this forum, it's quite easy to see that there are some practical solutions to solving this issue. Some of those ideas are really complicated and I just don't have the machinery to be able to produce them. However, some are actually quite simple, and I know there's one simple design that I will try to make. With the introduction of the modern post-mount caliper, an easy adapter can be made. And here it is. So with the help of the original author of this particular post about this design of adapter, I've been able to get the dimensions I need to build it and fit it to my bike, ready to accept this new post-mount disc brake caliper. Using some simple aluminium bar that I bought from eBay, I am now going to construct the disc brake adapter to fit the bike.
So it became really apparent early on that this Hayes 22mm parallel mounted disc brake caliper, it's a hydraulic one, was basically no good. It wasn't very serviceable. I probably could get the parts, but it cost me quite a lot of money. But on the other note really is I wasn't going down the hydraulic brake system anyway. I wanted to go down the mechanical because I had some shifters that are perfectly good to use with this project, and so with all that to think about, I was having to try my best to find a way of getting a newer style disc brake caliper to actually fit onto the existing mount. You've seen on the planning we did. Finally, I've got the finished piece back, the finished adapter to go on here, and I've got to be honest with you, I'm really pleased with the overall look, and actually I'm going to fit it up and see now if it works really, really well. But yeah, there it is.
The holes were drilled away from the workshop. Importantly, the two small holes had countersinking to them. This would allow the caliper to be fitted to the adapter and not cause any fitment issues. So the one part I really did need, and luckily it was the last one left, which I bought from one of the large online parts distributors for bikes. It was, yeah, like I said, it's one left, and it was heavily discounted, and so total luck was in because it's actually like the carbon version. Obviously there's a metal body, and this arm here is carbon. I like the action on the Spire mechanicals anyway. They've got a nice spring, and one big bonus is that the Spire actually pushes from both sides on the disc brakes. It's like, I suppose we could class it as a dual piston mechanism. So obviously as we would tighten our brake cable, this arm pulls back, so we use the lever, squish the lever, this tightens, and the brake pads come out and actually grasp onto the rotor. Now obviously you can see that both pistons working at the same time, so that's a real nice feature of these brakes. This is the new cassette. It's a Sunrace MX8 11-speed cassette in black. It didn't need to be black in colour. You can get a silver one in colour as well. It's just what they had in. So that's what I've gone for. But let's have a little look inside the box. I'm not going to do some crazy unboxing thing. It literally is just taking it out, getting a first look at it. Okay. Here, pull that out. Okay, so that's just as I expected it to be. Now the Sunrace ones are
a little bit cheaper, or have traditionally been a little bit cheaper compared to buying the sort of more well-known brands. But I have heard really good reviews about them, so I am going to give them a shot. We're going to a 1x11 setup for the gearing. So what I'm thinking is that this side here, but here and here on the frame, I can't really see that well. Here and here on the frame, both sides, I have the internal cable routing for the one for the front, one for the rear derailleur. This is the rear derailleur on this side. So I'm thinking is using this to poke the inner and outer one big long section all the way down through here, and then for it to come out here, and then just underneath on the bottom bracket here I would have some form of bracket to hold out here to hold the inner and outer cable coming right the way along, feeding it through the, well, not feeding it through, but taking it just under the chainstay here and bringing it up the inside, out and in to the caliper. The other option would have been a bit of a nightmare, because bringing it down the seat stay here would have made a really nasty tight angle to try and do something here to have brought the cable round and in, and it would look really ugly. Or you'd have to sort of bring it here and bring it sort of weirdly underneath and then back up through, which again would look pretty rubbish. So I think we're going to take it through the down tube here. Now the one thing is though, I will have to take this out, which is the inner lining, which usually takes the cable for the front derailleur. And what I'm going to do is there's a hole here which it comes out of, which at the moment is a certain size, and we will have to very slightly enlarge that hole. I'm not drilling a new hole, I'm just literally opening it up by like 1 millimeter or 2 at maximum, just to really give their space for the outer cable to come out and feed the whole length right the way up to straight into this caliper at the back here. So now we got to this point, I have to work out the neatest route to get it actually to the caliper. This outer here, it's quite difficult to use anything other than zip ties really to hold it on. It wasn't ideal, but I can't feed it on the inside of the chainstay because it just reduces the clearance to the tyre. I don't want to get it caught up there, ripped out, or something happens, because you know you might be getting muddy. So that's going to cause quite an issue there. Could get ripped out. So my theory is that I'm going to have to use at least one zip tie, but either to go underneath, which yeah, could do. I mean, we've done a really good job so far, I must remember, in hiding this all the way down. So we are going to see it. We are going to see this outer cable somewhere. My theory is, I think what I might do at the moment is let's try. can we do this? So over the top, a bit long, push some back through, over the top of here. Okay, it doesn't give that bad a bend here. I think feed that up there, still a bit long, feed it up over, gets a bit of a snag coming out of the frame there, don't get this length exactly right, put that in there, and I reckon then we can put a zip tie on, a very thin zip tie somewhere here, that'll be absolutely fine. So next job is to have a look at the outer cable we need to be able to actually connect up with the shifter, or in this case we're not really using it as a shifter, but obviously we are using it still as the brake lever itself. So we need to connect this up by getting the right amount of cable to reach the right area and give us enough slack so that we're still able to turn the handlebars as we need to. The thing is, when you're doing this in an existing build, so basically just changing cables and stuff, that's easy, but I had to buy a whole load just to make sure I was going to get from one end of the bike to the other through whatever method it was that we were going to use. So I do have a lot left over.
So as the episode draws to a close, I actually believe we've broken the back of quite a lot of the major issues with this bike. However, there's still lots more to do in the next episode. But really important for us here at Time for Bikes is if you like what you've seen, then please subscribe by hitting the Time for Bikes logo down in the bottom right corner now. But also, if you haven't seen episode 1 of this 650B Klein gravel bike conversion, then just go to the link which you'll see playing as a video right now in the top left. Until next time, stay safe and happy riding, guys.